My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information or follow the link in the description below. And seeing as this is 3MB, we are proudly sponsored by VMB Autocentres at Handsworth. They're still offering that amazing deal of 50% off your MOT when you let them know that you're a Rambler. Thank you to VMB Autocentres for their continued support.
Hey, subscribe to Blaze Ramble, man.
What is happening, Blades, and welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I'm, of course, Jimmy, and this is the 3 Mardy Blades. I'm still a bit Mardy, if I'm honest, about the cup performance. What about that, though? I'm just laughing to myself about Gyro on that intro. It even looks cool saying, subscribe to Blades. Hey, man, subscribe to Blades Ramble. What are you doing? Subscribe to Blades Ramble. Love it. Absolutely love it. Right, so we are going to be talking all things Sheffield United tonight, as we always do with my two mates. We're going to be talking Sheffield United being out of the cup. We're going to talk about Patrick Bamford getting an 18-month deal at United and whether that's good business. It's certainly exciting for the fan base. We're going to cover it all and anything that you want us to cover in the comments as well. So without any further ado, let's get in the man, the myth, the legend. It's Paul, the man Mountain.
This is the view from the mountain with a heart so pure it's astounding. Man Mountain, strong and true. What a man, what a view.
All right, my mate.
Hello there.
How's it going? You okay?
Yeah, subscribe to Blades Ramble.
Hey, man. Subscribe to Blades Ramble. I don't, no, we don't do any of that. No, just
Cigarette.
Let's get Dave in. Let's get this.
What's wrong with a cigarette or a vape?
Yeah, well, it's not. Neither are good for you. Dave, come and save us, mate.
Dave knows, he really knows where the wind, I know whispers blow. Smelly break, he's in the know. Dave knows, steals the show.
Dave the knows, he really knows. How's it going, pal?
Right, it doesn't normally take us 30 seconds to completely go off.
I know.
On the stream, but apparently we're not promoting anything bad.
Yes, we're not. We never would do anyway, would we? Let's be right. Listen, it's a hard out tonight. I believe Dave the Nose has got to exit around 8 p.m. So none of this frivolity or anything. Let's get down to brass tacks. What do we want
to? We're not allowed to have a laugh.
Well, no, we're not. No, we're not. What's the serious topics you want to talk about tonight?
What do I want to talk about? I don't know. I mean, I'm totally indifferent to yesterday, if I'm honest.
To going out of the cup. Those were your words exactly in the Platinum chat, weren't they? I'm indifferent to it.
Oh.
Someone's frozen. I don't know if it's me.
It was you.
Oh, shocking.
Your fault, Dave.
Other internet providers are available. Please use them.
Is that Captain Blade behind you, Dave?
Yeah.
Is that your attempt to accessorise in your background?
I think if I did much more, Charlotte would probably call me the worst dad ever.
Yeah, to be fair, and that is a movable piece as well, isn't it? I don't think Charlotte has Captain Blade whenever she's there alongside her.
I suggested yesterday morning. I went, "Shall we? Do you fancy going to watch the cup match?" And the look she gave me, yeah. She would not be pleased.
Sometimes you just have to know when you're defeated, don't you?
Yeah. She's not into a sport, bless her. She's into other creative pursuits.
Fair dues, mate.
But yeah, I'm very. I only managed to catch the second half actually yesterday, so I wasn't really bothered before it. Aaron came in and went, "It's 2-1." I went, "All right," to them. All right. And a few of them have probably, let themselves down with the opportunity they've had to put themselves either in a shop window or stake a claim to start, the next game. I think they've made Wilder's life easier, not more difficult, despite, him wanting him probably to make it more difficult.
Yeah.
I think
Go on.
we'd have probably got, Man City next round at Etihad and they'd have pumped 8 past us. So
That's the spirit. That's the spirit, my old mate. In fact, I think it's been drawn, hasn't it? I've just had a notification saying that Macclesfield have got their next tie or something like that. So we'll find out. Yeah, find out who we could have drawn, Paul.
Look at what you could have won.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Let's have a little look.
But yeah, Dave, you didn't miss anything, pal. I know you've not seen the whole game. I wouldn't be bothered to go back and look at the highlights. When you saw the team announced, Dave, I don't know, whether it was pre-game or during the game. What were your thoughts on the lineup? Because that is the lineup that I thought we should be going with. Because it's a full rotation, but it's more than good enough to get through against the League One side.
I think exactly my thoughts won't be any different from what I reckon the majority of people would have thought. It was probably what we'd have all picked.
Because I think if you choose to go with the second string, because there is the option to say continue the momentum with the first team and bounce into Charlton, hopefully after a positive result. But I think that's very revisionist to say now that he should definitely have done that. And I can't understand why he went with the team that he went with. So many changes, all this sort of thing. I just think it was more than good enough, that side.
I think second string's probably a bit, you'd say that based on the performance, but a bit harsh on some of them. You're talking, Ben Mee, who's played a fair bit before he got injured. Hoover, we think a lot of. Burrows, who was, first choice left back last season. Blaster, I know he's coming back. We know how good he is.
Yeah, but if those 10 players are available, they don't start on Saturday.
But they haven't been. But, I don't think it's a case of putting the kids, we've not had Louis Marsh out there and Ryan.
No, but it was supposed to be a showing of how deep the squad was and sort of allowing those fringe players and either those Hoover coming in, those coming back from an injury like Blaster or Ben Mee, or those on the outskirts of the team like Harrison Burrows and Gus Hamer and Ty Campbell and Danny Ings to say, this is why I should be in the starting lineup for Charlton. This is why I need a place in this side. And not one of them stuck their hand up and put a performance in to say, you're getting it wrong, Chris. I'm the one that you should be going with instead of Tyler Binden or instead of Sam McCallum or Callum O'Hare. They'll all have been laughing their head off. Tom Cannon, I was saying on 90 after 90, they become better players without even playing because of that poor performance from their competition, if you like. Paul, I know you watched the game, obviously, because you did the watch along with yourself and Jordan Motson. What were your thoughts on it, pal?
Oh, I thought Mansfield had a game plan. They had just over 20% possession in the game, which meant that United controlled the ball, you could say, and with over 75% of I think it was 78, I think. Yeah, and I mean, I think what you're looking at there is you're looking at a couple of players coming back from injury, aren't you? In Ben Mee, Davis getting on the pitch as well was, good news, I think, for the squad and the team. The rest of them were rotated, so there were 10 changes, including the goalkeeper. So you could definitely say it wasn't the first 11. That if you're not going to say it's the B team, it's definitely not the first 11 that's currently available. I think this is the round where, if you're following all the fixtures that come in towards the end of December, this is the game in every manager's notebook that they're going to rest the guys that have been playing week in, week out. I say week in, 2-3 times a week.
Yep.
Christmas period. It's a great opportunity for the other players to get a bit of match sharpness and stake a claim, like you've said. So I mean, I'm not worried. It doesn't affect the next game at all because actually the players that started the game, maybe one might start the next game. So it doesn't affect the confidence of the first team players that are going to be selected for the next game. In my opinion, it won't make a big difference.
I agree. There were talks about hanging a Mansfield shirt on the wall. I don't think it makes any difference to the first team. And I know, Dave, you're right. They are all part of the first team. And so second string is harsh terminology. But I agree with Paul. I don't think there'll be 9 or 10 changes again on Saturday to bring back those players that have been rested.
Yeah, they will. And honestly, they controlled the ball well. There wasn't a lot of urgency. I didn't see a lot of penetrative attacking, and the stats at half time were 4 shots on target for them, one for us, which was a wonder strike. We hadn't got anywhere near the area to get a shot away for that from Gus. And he's right in what he says, is that it wasn't good enough, and it was too pedestrian, and it was too sideways, and it was safe. But you have to give credit where it's due. Mansfield were well organised. I thought Oates looked like a good player. He looks like somebody who could play the level above.
Yep.
You've got Ben Mee coming back from an injury, who's obviously, being his age, isn't going to be as mobile as he used to be before anyway. And he's playing with McGuinness, a goalkeeper he's not used to playing with. Brand new right back. It's kind of a recipe, because there isn't a lot of match sharpness in that 11.
No,
in terms of, other than mate, you might argue. I think Blaster, did he start the previous game, or Samari? So only one of them started the previous game. And again, I think he's still building up. I still think he's trying to get where he needs to be. So I think it was a little bit slow, a little bit pedestrian. And obviously, I thought the 2 goals, I know, despite if it happens once, you should sort yourself out and organise yourself to stop it happening again. But the first one was a terrific goal. And the second one, you can level something at Blaster for swinging like not getting a good contact if you're going to try and block the ball. I know he don't have long to think about it. But them 2 goals, they go in against most sides if the ball goes to the edge of the box and he hits it as well as he did. So I wasn't too upset with that. It was the 3rd and 4th and the manner of them, and that was disappointing. But then the lads that came on, they made a fist of it, didn't they? And went for it again. So I get it's for me, the 10 changes were needed because to rest the players that have been doing a lot of the hard yards over the Christmas period. And Mansfield came in the numbers in terms of the crowd, so fair play to him for that.
Crowd were great.
I thought that was excellent. That's brilliant. And I thought the players gave him something to cheer about, and they were clinical as well. You look at the conversion on their shots; it was really good. So I think we'd all like to have gone a little bit further, but am I sat here crying in my beer? I do not think so. The concentration now has to be on the league. These next 10 games for us will determine whether this season's a write-off or not. And the fact Bamford has signed a deal, for me, that's the good news. That's the reason to smile about this weekend.
Yeah, we'll come on to that, because that's definitely worth waxing lyrical over. I think that's a fantastic signing, probably the best signing we could have made in the January window. But just to finish off on what you were saying in terms of, I mean, the lads that came on, I know you said they sort of did what they could and stuff like that, but Wilder called them out, particularly Brooks and Sariki afterwards. And I think that was one of the few times I've disagreed with Chris Wilder. I thought, I'm not saying they had a fantastic performance, and I'm not saying you can't point fingers at certain instances, but for a 20-minute cameo, I think it's harsh to call out Sariki and Brooks. Sariki particularly, when you're talking about players that have needed to be rested, and let's just leave him to sit out for the 90 minutes if we can. Well, we couldn't. We had to pull the trigger on him because we weren't confident in Hoover and the way he started the game and played as a whole. He looked rusty, and he were giving away possession and things like that. Didn't look match sharp, as you've said. Riederveld's another who has been putting the minutes in, and we bring him on towards the end as well. And I think it's not gone to plan this at all, and it's a little bit embarrassing to a degree. So I don't know. Bamford was the only one that he gave credit for, and understandably so, because Bamford.
I think because they're academy lads, and he's kind of responsible for bringing them through, and I'm sure he's really proud of them, but he probably thinks he can with them a little bit more because they're young players who might need a bit of grounding, and I think they've done really well recently. So I agree with you on the point that it's a bit harsh when you look across what's happened on the pitch for the rest of the game. I don't think it was a disastrous performance. I'm not jumping on this. Oh, we were rubbish because of this. We were just a bit ring rusty and a little bit lacking sharpness in the final third. Some of the play was okay, but it was just too safe.
I didn't think there were any desire though from some of the players. Yeah, you think that exactly, Dave. We let 4 in, but you think about somebody like Tyrese Campbell, who has dropped from first choice striker to 3rd at best. And where is his desire to go and say, I want that shirt back? He weren't moving. And that's just one example. And Like Wilder gets pulled on Sariki and Brooks, I get pulled on Campbell, and understandably so. But I just think he looks lazy to me, and certainly unfit, whichever is your more preferred way of describing it. And then you look at like Gus Hamer. Gus scores a great goal, and people will point to that and say, well, what more do you want him to do? Well, I do want more than that. I want Gus Hamer, who was called the best player in the Championship last season, to be able to dictate the game against a League One side. I don't think that's too much to ask. He's good enough to run that game on his own, and he scored a goal. Don't you think, Paul?
No,
he scored a goal, and then he disappeared. Disappeared completely.
I think that he gets a little bit more stick because of his ability. He scored a very, very good goal.
Yeah,
only he and probably one or two others in the team can score. Let's put it like that. And he's got that ability. But the whole play, I thought Mansfield were really well organised, dropping into the banks. They made it tough for someone.
They were very good. They were very good, and everything we're saying is not to discredit Mansfield, because I think they came and did a job on us, like we did under Cloughie against bigger sides than us.
Yeah,
so that's not.
I think they played to the game plan. They were disciplined, and they make it hard for creative players. And when you're playing too slow as a team, and it was a team performance, by the way, not just one player or any individual. You've got to, if the speed is not on the ball or in the ball when it comes into you, and when the players are not moving right and things aren't going on around you, for a creative player, it's twice as difficult, because what you need is movement. So if you're going to commit somebody, you're going to go past somebody, or you're going to thread a pass, you need that person to make that movement. You need this, but there weren't a lot of spaces really. It didn't suit Campbell at all this game, because they dropped in nice and deep and compact. And they were well organised, and it didn't create an awful lot of space for players like Campbell to go and play. Do I think the whole team was just too slow and it's getting through the lines? Yes, 100% I do. But I think Gus gets a little bit more because he's the main guy on the pitch, really. And I think in those situations, it's really hard for creative players. I mean, other than getting the ball and skinning two and smashing one in, which is what he did there, wasn't it? He smashed one in from 25 yards, which you're more creative and you're more high ability players to do, and he did that. I just think he was looking for pockets of space and movement off him and other things, and I just didn't think it was there. I didn't think we were dynamic enough down either flank. I think the flanks have been a massive thing for us, and allowed the players in the middle a little bit more space because they draw defenders over, and it wasn't happening on the right. It wasn't happening on the left. I just think it was just disjointed, and I don't want to point fingers at players in that situation, individuals anyway. You can say it was a poor team performance, and you could point to nearly all of them, like you said. But I'm not a fan of just going, well, Gus is better than that lot, so he should be grabbing the game.
Yeah, but I've not picked Gus like. I've picked Gus because I could have picked one of 10, I think, to be honest.
Don't pick Gus then.
Talk to me about Chong then. Talk to me about Chong. How do you think Chong played?
I thought he was poor.
Why are you singling him out?
I'm not.
It's a poor team game, not an individual.
Okay,
thing.
let me finish what I'm saying then. Okay. I thought it was poor in line with everybody else being poor.
Yeah, I agree, mate. So you can pull players out individually. It's not. We don't have to wrap them in cotton wool. I'm all one for backing the players, and I want them to play well, like all Blades do. But you can't just then say, oh well, why are you criticising them individually?
Well, Gus scored the goal that kept us in the game, didn't he? And it was an outstanding goal.
So does that mean he gets a free pass to coast the rest of the game?
Doesn't mean he gets a free pass to coast it, but what it does is he deserves a bit of credit for.
He does. Absolutely, he does. He did. It was
some possibly, Jim, more than anyone else on the pitch for us.
I mean, a goal gives you credit, doesn't it? And it certainly is a game-changing
and it should
moment in the game. Absolutely right, it should. But I still think he should be very disappointed in his performance. Certainly because I think he played a part in one of the goals we conceded as well.
Listen, I didn't think it was a great performance, and again, I'm not too worried. It is a bunch of players who are trying to find some match sharpness. That's what it was for me. It's
a missed opportunity, is what it is.
Yeah, well, and it was. And again, I agree with you. I don't think anyone grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck or said to Wilder, "Look, I'm putting my hand up here. This is me." And he says it all the time. You should want to do well individually, but I don't see why So I know Gus is a creative player, and we lacked creativity, so I kind of get it. But he scored an outstanding goal, and he was playing in a team that wasn't moving the ball quick enough for him to get the best out of Gus. That doesn't mean I give him a pass. I don't think he was particularly good throughout the game, but he did score an outstanding goal, which is more than a lot of them did, Jim. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. I don't think, I think because he was a goal scorer doesn't mean that, oh, well, he should get more credit than the rest.
Well, they always do, Jim. They always do.
It's a great thing that he's done to score the goal, but anyway, we're going around in circles on that.
It's the hardest part of the game, Jim. And
yeah, it is. I agree.
He's probably the only player who could have done what he did.
Yeah, fair. But why does it take Patrick Bamford to come on to score within 2 minutes when we've had two strikers on for 60 minutes that couldn't hit a barn door? This is what I mean. So there's levels in there, and they are not playing to the levels that we expect. And look, it's a cup game, and you're right. In the grand scheme of things, we are focusing on the league this season, and so we should, because if we take another misstep in the league, or another couple at least, season's done. We're not playing for anything. So I'd have liked to have gone further in the cup. Of course I would. I'm more frustrated with the players that were given an opportunity yesterday, and they just did not take it. And I think that they will be kicking themselves. Somebody like Chong, who Andre Brooks is not the finished article on the right wing. That were a golden opportunity for Tahith Chong to go against lower league opposition and say, this is my chance here. If I take on my man a couple of times, get a couple of decent crosses in box, whatever I need to do, I could be in this side. Kijani Hover knows that Sariki's been playing really well, but he'll definitely get minutes in this side. And Wilder's clearly had some cross words with Sariki somewhere along the line. There's a chance for Kijani Hover. He don't take it. Ben Mee coming back from injury. Tyler Binden's been playing really well as his replacement. And if Ben Mee plays well here, there's a strong chance Ben Mee starts against Charlton. No chance. Binden starts all day long because it were a poor performance from Ben Mee. He doesn't play well alongside McGuinness, and I understand that. But Harrison Burrows, you could go through the team. You could go through the team and say, why isn't McGuinness giving Wilder an headache? Why isn't Burrows giving Wilder an headache about McCallum? And he's not.
I'm with you, and I am with you. But what I am saying to you is, I think sometimes it's more difficult than we think. What we think is that the players should be out there falling on the swords, giving their bodies on the line, running through brick walls. I don't think there was a massive lack of effort in the performance. I have to be honest. I think that's harsh. I really do. I just don't think it was very good, Jim. I don't think the ball was moving quick enough from nearly any of them. There was a lack of quality from some of the people we expect a bit more from, people like Blaster, for example, people like Gus, for example. But
you can't convince me they were all going full tilt yesterday.
I'm not. I don't. But again, I wouldn't be sat there going, "Oh, I just think they're not trying."
But at 65 minutes, we've got it back to 4-3. Why are we not busting a gut then to get back into the game? It's there. The momentum is with us. We're 4-1 down. We quickly get it to 4-3. There's 25 minutes left to play, and we just shut the game down. There's no impetus. There's no ambition to go and win the game. And we end up bringing on Patrick Bamford to get the goal and then force the own goal. And then everything we try and do is through him because we're not trusting anybody else in and around him by it looks. It's just, I think it's embarrassing for those fringe players that
I think
had an
it's
opportunity.
Hard, right? I think you're looking at 4 or 5 of those players and you go in, you should be staking a claim for the team. As in, when all said and done, and you look at this over a season, there's 3 or 4 or 5 of those who you'd say they should be in our best 11. I understand that. Lots of players say that. I think when you make wholesale changes, and this is, I'm going back to your old Football Manager days, where if you go in and change 11 or 10 players, for example, you lose all the cohesion, all the form. Everything that's been good for the last sort of 5 weeks or whatever it is in terms of team performance and relationships on the pitch and all those things disappear. If you're blooding 1 or 2 into the side and you've got your regular players playing at full tilt who are in the rhythm of playing and playing well, you give those players more of a chance to bridge that gap and be and stake a claim for the first team. I think when you make wholesale changes like that, like you did, you're taking out all the guys that have been doing well with all the rhythm and everything else, and you're putting in a load of guys who are ring rusty, all of them to a man. The ones, some coming back from injury, some building fitness, some haven't played hardly at all. Hoover, for example, as well, he hasn't played at all. And you're putting combinations on the pitch that are rare and some never seen before, and you go in. Let's go and see a liquid performance, and it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It's the age-old thing in footy. He made a lot of changes. He probably needed to, because the players needed that rest, and because the emphasis is definitely on next week. I don't care what anyone says to me. Oh, you're just saying it because you went out and you're making excuses and Forget that. Everybody who's a Blade would have took a defeat in this game for an outstanding performance next week. Every single Blade that I know.
Well, we better get an outstanding performance then, don't we?
No, not really, Jim, because it's football, mate, and that's not how football works. All right. We're Sheffield United supporters. We're not Manchester City and Arsenal supporters. We're not going to sit there every time we lose a game and chuck us toys out the pram.
Well, that's not been on offer then, has it? That's not been on offer. If you'd have offered me that, then I'd have taken it.
Well, listen, those players needed a rest. Nobody can deny they needed a rest. And all of us, to a man, will be here next week. If we perform really well with the team that's been regular for us, playing well next week, we'll have forgotten about this.
I was massively for that team selection. Don't get that don't get misconstrue that either, because I agree with the team selection. The team that was put out was strong enough to beat Mansfield, and that was my point that I was making. And they have let themselves down by not going out there and getting a result. I think
Mansfield played well, and I think
Mansfield did play well. Mansfield should be able to play 110% of their game, and our players should be able to still go out there and beat them, because there's a division between us. They're mid-table in League One. They've just come up from League Two. With our team, who would you swap out of that 11 for a Mansfield player? Who would you swap?
Well, I'd have Oates for a start, because I thought he was excellent.
So you'd have Oates for Danny Ings or Tyrese Campbell?
Yeah. Based on what I saw yesterday.
Yeah, based on what you saw yesterday. But this is what I mean, though. So there's never an expectation. Dave, I'm coming to you in a minute, I promise, mate. But there's never an expectation that you beat anybody. But in the grand scheme, we are not out of order for thinking that team was good enough to beat Mansfield.
But if that's our regular team, Jim, I'm with you. But that 10 players that came in are not the team that we're playing at the moment, and they are not match sharp. That was really, really obvious.
How do they get match sharp?
They play, but they've
play games, don't they?
Jimmy, they've not been playing, mate. They've not been playing. They're not match sharp. You can't expect a team that hasn't. I just think he made too many changes. Maybe he had to, like he said. Maybe he had that many physical issues with the squad. They needed a rest. He thought that they were going to be good enough. You thought they were going to be good enough. On paper, they were good enough. But it doesn't always. The game isn't played on paper. It's played on a number of things. Energy levels, match sharpness are all factors, and there weren't any of it. So, I'm writing it off, and I'm not going to get in a row with you about it. I think 10 changes is too many for us to start saying we should be seeing these off. We should be seeing them off. I just think it's too many.
My point is the team was good enough. I completely agree with your points about continuity and form and things like that. But if they are not playing, if they're not training to the same system that the first team are playing, if you like, then there's something wrong in there.
Jimmy, there's no way players that haven't been playing are playing at the same intensity as the players that.
I don't expect them to. I don't expect them to. But with levels in the game, you'd expect that team to have gone out there and beaten Mansfield. Is what I'm saying.
No, well, we're a team. We're a team 3/4 of the way down the division above. There's much bigger upsets happen this weekend.
Yes, there is.
And we made 10 changes for this game. I don't think it was I think there was moments of really poor stuff. And I think when Wilder gave his give his reaction to the game, he was upset because he's put faith in these players to go out and do a job. And I'm with you on that. And they haven't fulfilled against the side that in a lower division. But I think the side in the lower division played exceptionally well. And I thought we looked rusty. And I can kind of understand why we looked rusty and why there wasn't a lot of cohesion.
I don't disagree with that at all. Don't disagree with that at all. I don't. Davey boy, I'm going to bring you in here. Sorry.
you
I'm all
weren't
over. Oh, I'm all discombobulated.
You weren't going to have a row, but that's like, closing the gate after the horse has bolted, I think.
We didn't have a row.
You didn't say it.
We didn't have a row. I agree with his points. I do, and I don't disagree with anything. What's
You agree
going on
then?
here? I don't disagree with anything he said. To be honest, it's just I don't.
Do you know what? Do you know what I can forgive in a performance? You talk about ring rust and stuff. I can forgive them trying things and them not coming off. I can't forgive not trying them.
Correct. It's the lack of effort that annoys me. I can forgive match not being sharp and not being being rusty and misplacing passes to a degree where you haven't played with that individual alongside you. But there was a lack of determination for me yesterday. There was a lack of getting that extra 5% to go and show why they should be in the first team and why they want to win the game with 25 minutes left. We had more than enough on the pitch, and that's what frustrates me about it. But Pot, you're right. In the grand scheme of things, it's the cup, which is not the priority at all this season, and it rarely is, if we're honest. The league is the priority if we're going to save this season, and we'll now get to focus fully on it. That's a silver lining rather than a result, isn't it? But I'm not crying about being out of the cup. I'm disappointed we're out of the cup. I think the players should be the most disappointed of all in terms of not taking the opportunity in front of them.
I thought their fans summed up the whole Mansfield thing. I thought they showed up in their numbers. They made a load of noise. The players ran through brick walls. It was a big game for them, and that's not being arrogant. It was a big game for Mansfield, and it was a game for Sheffield United at the end of a very, very busy period, and it was. I think it was treated as such, and it might have needed to be treated that way because I think a lot of the players need a rest. Players like Sariki, I can't believe he was in the squad. When you look how many games he's played, he's played every minute.
Hoover were never going to play 90 minutes.
I get it. I understand it. And if you're a young lad like Sariki, I'm sure 20 minutes in your legs isn't going to affect you for the following week. I understand that. But he's been playing every minute of every game.
Yeah.
So lacking a little bit of sharpness. I get it.
Where was Brooksy supposed to be playing when he come on? Because to me, it looked like he was wandering over to the left and
he was
on right hand side at pitch.
He did.
So I think to defend Sariki a little bit, he's also having to do almost two positions on his own there.
And Wilder's called him out on it, or in the presser, in afterwards, hasn't he? He sort of said he did play his own game or something. He said something to that. I think, if I remember correctly.
I think Brooks came on, wanted to make a difference, and he was that keen to make a difference. He was going around looking for the ball everywhere. But it was trying to get it into some space close by to the ball. But then obviously he's lost his positional discipline by doing that. So
he's
the right
learning,
side is exposed.
He's learning because he won't do it again. He's been called out on it, and he won't do it again. And like you say about desire, I think he showed a bit of break. He wanted to be on the ball, and that's the first thing you want players to do, especially young players, to be a bit fearless and go seeking the game and stuff. And he'll learn from it. And Wilder will talk to him about it and say, look, you're on there to do this. This is the job I gave you. This is what I want you to do. This is where you're most effective. And he brought them two on that combination on the right, hopefully getting something that we've seen in some of the good performances that we've seen so far. And he didn't get it. But again, singling them out, I think they've been singled out because they're academy lads, and he knows how to push their buttons, and he knows their personality and characters. There'll be other players that he could easily have dug out, but they might be new. He might not have that relationship yet. They might not react to that kind of thing very positively.
I think there's another thing that they might be others that he's not going to dig out because he knows they're not going to play. And I think those two are going to play. And it's what you get with Wilder, isn't it? He wears his heart on his sleeve. If he's really mad about something, you're gonna
hear about it, aren't you?
Yeah, and he's just let it out, and you have to accept that that's his character. And
I love it.
You're going to get the good stuff, and when he's happy, and you're going to get the.
He'll be annoyed that Cloughie's done a number on him. That'll be the most. That'll be.
Yeah, he will. He will, and it's embarrassing for him to be beaten by a lower league team. Everything goes through him, doesn't it? Every decision that's made, he could have put a team out that that beat Mansfield 3-0, and that, I don't mean that disrespectfully, but if we'd have put our first team out, then I don't think it had been a very competitive fixture. It might have been because it's the FA Cup, but chances are we would have had a much greater chance of winning if we'd have stuck with our cohesive first team and gone out. And he's chosen to change it, thinking that he can. And I agreed with him, thinking that the players he put out were good enough, and it's not worked. So he'll be slightly embarrassed as well, and it makes him mad when he sees players not doing what he's asked them to do.
Four goals to concede for me.
Yeah, there were.
Really
there were.
And I know what you said about the first. I think Chong's got to close him down. I think he just sort of half-heartedly comes out to close down the shot and just gives him far too much time on the ball.
Well, that's what I want to talk to you about, really, because we've talked about this window, and I think even last week we were talking about we need a right back because we needed competition for, or certainly backup, really, was what we were thinking for Sariki. But we've got competition for him now. I think it's a strong signing of intent, really, even though he didn't play very well in his debut. I think there's a lot more to come from Kijani Hova. Bamford's also signed up for 18 months, which is an incredible deal from the football club, and that's ambition being shown from the board. I think it shows that Wilder holds the cards in terms of, he's got the leverage on the board, and if you're not a Wilder fan, then that might scare you a little bit, but for those of us that are Wilder fans, I think that's good, because I don't think the board have shown themselves to be particularly have a lot of football nous. Does this performance, Dave, sort of worry you in terms? Because I think we were saying last week, if we get a right back and we get Bamford signed up, then we're in a really strong position in this window, because we're not desperate for any other position. Do you still feel that after the performance yesterday?
I don't remember saying that.
Might not have been. It might have been with my dad talking sense, to be fair.
I still think we need a backup, or I say competition. They've all got to be competition. There's no point signing a player who's not competition for anyone.
Well, I thought we were going to go for Harry Clark, because we wouldn't want to put Sariki's nose out of joint.
No,
and he's an okay cover player, isn't he?
I don't think it's Wilder's way.
Well, it don't appear to be, because he signed Hoover, who will seriously give him, a whip.
And I think we need a centre mid who can play like Gyro, in the sense that he's more of that covering.
Is that realistic though, Dave? When we've got five and Matos,
I think but it's shown yesterday. He's gone with Samari and Blaster in that area, and Samari's had a poor game, and he's looked really good alongside Gyro over the last couple. I think. But
how do you sell that to the board? That look, I know we've got 6 centre midfielders, including Matos, but I need another one, please.
I think the evidence has been what's happened on pitch, and when Gyro's not played, how the middle of the pitch has looked far worse for it. I think it sells itself. You just need to show him a few games. But
what do you do with Samari and Matos?
How long Peck's out for, personally? I think it'll depend on how long Peck's going to be.
Peck's due back, I think, in this weekend.
Right.
But again, without Gyro, none of them have looked.
It's Gyro plus one, isn't it? It's Gyro plus one.
Yeah, but what happens if he takes a knock?
I still think we need 2 wide players, and I think I have to eat some pie on the goalkeeper thing. I thought it might be a waste of money, but I think it, and I don't blame Davo for yesterday. I think the 4th goal he can do a lot better in terms of making it more difficult for the forward. But I think there might be a goalkeeper. I don't know. I think there might be. I think this might be the thing that inspires him to do it potentially.
Yeah, possibly.
And I think there needs to be 2 wide players to provide genuine competition for Brooks on one side.
Well, I agree with you. But we've also got 3 right wingers. If you class Chong as a right winger, Brooks and Ogbeni, again, it's
Ogbenny's not playing this year.
I don't know
when he due back. Nobody knows.
Nobody said anything about Ogbeni, have they? But even say he's out for another couple of weeks. It's still, they're not good enough, in my opinion. Brooks is the only one that can come in and out of the side, and we've seen this season that he can play really well on that right side with Sariki behind him. But he doesn't do it consistently. You'd like some competition for him. I've no faith in Chong or Ogbeni behind him. But how do you sell that to the board when we're saying, can we bring in a 6th centre midfielder, please, and a 4th right winger?
I don't think they will go for a centre mid when Peck, if Peck's going to come back very shortly. we know Davo's back, and we don't know how long he's going to be back for. And we just hope that he can stay fit a little bit.
Because I think these are deals that we definitely need to do in the summer. Absolutely.
Yeah.
When we know Benny's gone back, we'll probably try and get rid of Chong. We might get rid of McGuinness and a few others, and we'll be wheeling and dealing quite significantly, I think, in the summer. But we're our hands are tied a little bit in January. We can't get rid of McGuinness. We can't get rid of Chong. We can't send Benny back.
There's definitely room for a winger.
Chong's played for Luton, I think, this season.
Did somebody find out if this counts for abroad?
No, I don't know.
It won't do.
Because I think you think domestically, but I mean, all right, I don't think anyone's going to come and take McGuinness from abroad, but I can see Chong going to another country and doing pretty well.
I think Chong hasn't shown us anything yet, so I think on that basis, he can't be considered backup. The other option when it comes to Brooks, I don't know about Ogbenny might never play again for us, so in my head, but I think there's room for a winger and potentially a winger that can go both sides. And I think if you've got that lone spot which has been freed up, there must be a good young winger whose parents' side want him to get some minutes. And if he is a backup on the right and a starter or a backup on the left or whatever, or an option, I think we need somebody who can go past somebody in a wide area. Because I think we're lacking that at the moment. Brooks can give us that, and has given us that. But again, making him thinking he's going to do it every week is naive. I think he's someone who needs to come in and out of the team at times. So yeah, I think there's definitely room for a winger. A centre mid, I don't think we'll get one. I think as long as he thinks Peck's coming back, and as long as Davo's not injured during January, I don't think there'll be room for a midfielder unless he moves a couple on.
I think he wants one, whether he gets one or not. Because I think there's probably legs to the Joe Rothwell rumour that's he's a very Chris Wilder type player, isn't he? Really, like established, experienced Championship veteran player who's played at the top end of the Championship. That's got Chris Wilder written all over it, really. But and you surmise that he's probably a decent character to have in the dressing room as well. I'm conscious of time because I know we've got to wrap up.
It's hard to sell, Jim. That position is going to be hard to sell to a player coming in.
Yeah, it is, because you're coming in as a fourth, aren't you, really? Or certainly a backup to Gyro. So it's going to be a tough sell. But I'm conscious, I want to get some comments before we finish, but the last conversation we're going to have openly is about Bamford. Bamford coming in, as fans, it's undoubtedly a brilliant move. I think it levels us up on the field. I think it's something that we can rightly get excited about. Obviously, the channel sponsors him. We are huge fans of Patrick Bamford. Whether you believed it was a great signing initially or not, I think he's proven, particularly should he be able to stay fit, he will be a fantastic signing for us. In my opinion, he's our number one striker at the moment. My question to you, lads, is, with your sensible heads on, other than just the plain fan in you, the Blade that loves to see him in a Blade shirt, do you think this is a risky move by the football club, giving him an 18-month deal?
No.
Not based on what we've seen, no.
No, I don't think it will be, because we clearly need that type of player across both seasons anyway. I think he's been doing that well for us this season. I don't see it turning off, and I think there will be movement in that department in the summer anyway.
It'll be him and one other next year.
It'll be him and Cannon, won't it?
Cannon will be part of that conversation.
It'll be him and Cannon, and it will Ings won't be renewed, and we'll be inviting offers for Campbell, I would have thought.
I would agree with that. And what we'll hope is that Ona goes away and has a barnstorm second half.
And he can then be pushing next season
and
to get in.
Come in and push, because I think he's a real raw diamond, Oni. He's someone who with Bamford could offer us a lot of physical presence. The beautiful part with Bamford is, although he's cracking on a bit, they must have done a deal that works for both parties, because I don't think they jeopardise the pot for next year just on one player, and I think it's good they've managed to get the deal done. But I think it'll be Bamford and one other next year. Cannon will be in that conversation, and I think you're right, there will be changes. And I think he's certainly good at this level, and he doesn't rely on physical gifts, I wouldn't say, in terms of pace and other things that you tend to lose around his age.
Yeah, I
Clever
agree.
player, isn't he? Very,
Yeah,
very
he
clever
is.
player.
Yeah.
He came on and made such a difference, didn't he, in that game already? And I know that's not a really great sample size because of the opposition. And again, every respect to Mansfield, but we've seen him make differences in tight games at championship level as well. I think I'll be amazed if he doesn't. Certainly for the next 5 games or so, if it's not him and Cannon together as a pair, I think they have cemented themselves as the top 2. He's on record. Well, not on record, but he said to some of our lads, he likes what he sees in Tom Cannon, thinks there's a really good player in there. It appears as though they play well together when they're on the field together. That doesn't mean I don't think Cannon can't play well with Campbell or Ings, or same for Bamford, but it seems as though they look well together as a pair. And I think we're going to try those as first 2. And I think that's hopefully what we're going to be seeing as a partnership moving forward. Right, let me get some comments before we run out of time too much. Ontario Blade starts off tonight. Afternoon 3MB. This recent performances, would you sell Burrows to Trabzonspor? I would, for an improved offer of 5 million quid. Up the Worldwide Ramble, up the 3 Mardy Blades, up the Blades. Davy Boy, would you sell Harrison Burrows for £5 million to Turkey?
No.
Sorry, there's a bit of feedback on the line there.
No, not in January. I think it's a tough window to do any kind of replacement with him. I think no, I wouldn't.
Okay, Paul.
What Dave just said, I think he knows the place. I don't see 5 million being a deal that we can't walk away from at the moment. They might.
It's not a deal that won't be there in the summer, is it? I'm not saying the Trabzonspor one, but I think he holds his value at least. If we can get 5 million for him now, then if he has an uptick in season, then we're going to get more.
I think he's a bit out of form. I think he was outstanding last season, and we should try and remember that. Again, he's still a young player, playing at this level for the first time, and he had a really, really good season last year. And I think if he rediscovers his form, we'd say 5 million is cheap. When he's out of form, it might be a different conversation. So yeah, I think it's an interesting one. It'll depend on the player and the manager and what he sees next season looking like. I guess.
Yeah.
Because he might say the deal's a good one for the club, etc. I don't know. I wouldn't be struck of selling him because I still feel like them two in that position offer genuine competition for each other, and I can't say that for everywhere on the field.
Yeah. I think we've got that in most places now, though. I have to say, I'm not saying the quality is quite as good in terms of the competition, but you look at right back, for example. Now, I like that competition between Hoover and Sariki.
Yeah, I agree. But after such a performance,
I know it's hard to justify.
If you'd have asked me 3 or 4 days ago, I'd have gone, yeah, I think you're right. There's
got good competition all over the pitch.
There's 2 players for every spot, but looking at that again,
Yeah,
like I say, they didn't really put their hand up. So. I think, but we know there's good performance in there. There's still 3 or 4 who are in that team, like Dave was saying, who can break in and become our first choice because they can do, and if they get up to form, they will do. So I think that is a good thing to have. It's a good thing that's there. But yeah, we're just a bit disappointed that, like you say, no one put their hand up. But I don't think in the big picture of this season it's going to be one that we're worried about at the end of the year.
Dempsey says Wilder getting his early excuse in for playing Henry Hoover right back instead of our own product. Shocking. No excuse for yesterday either. Ings absolutely stinks. And while we're at it, have you seen the price of eggs? Yeah, just while we're ranting, Dempsey, let's do that. When are you doing your Yorkshire's Finest? I think Cal released it yesterday. I'm not sure he clearly titled it as Yorkshire's Finest, but we did rank all the Yorkshire teams' seasons. So it's on Cal Fowler's channel. I've also got the Jimmy and Cal football show out as well that we released at 5 o'clock today on the Blades Ramble, if you want to check that out too. Julie says, need to sell or give away Davis, the goalkeeper. Bamford should get the captain's armband. To be honest, I'm glad we're out of the cup. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Some people can be captains without wearing the armband, Julie, but I understand what you mean in terms of the influence he has on the side. I think that's fair. Leeds fan here, I come in peace, says Kieran. I started watching last season and can't help but keep watching this channel. Very fair opinions. Take care of Lord Bamford. Thank you, Kieran. You're welcome here, pal. I appreciate the support. Bamford deal is brilliant business, says Peake. He came in for free. 2.5 million-ish in wages. If Bamford has a good season, he's got to be worth at least 5 million quid. Glad to be out of the cup and concentrate on the league. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Romeo Dunn says, main thing is we focus on the league and get into the playoffs, so not all bad up the Ramble. Batman Lou, Man Mountain's partner in crime on Ramble FC, says, evening 3MB, personally I was irked by yesterday, me too. Hang another shirt up in the changing room. Team more or less picks itself now. It helped Wilder, that performance in a way. Really poor from some up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, mate. That was Dave's early pitch to say it helps Wilder more than it hinders him, to be honest, in terms of clarity on who's up for it. Feel sorry for Mansfield, says Ray. Drawing boring Burnley. Oh, is that what they've got? Glad we went out, but well done, lads, for the watch along. Didn't see the game, so relied on your commentary. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles, like and subscribe. Yes, thank you to the Man Mountain and Jord Motson for your brilliant watch along yesterday. I've clipped that up already and posted it out because it was very good, as expected. Sheila's just letting us know it's Burnley away. Thank you. Sheffield United Fan TV, FTV, I assume that's what it means. It's definitely a blessing in disguise. We know who's definitely not capable of starting for us. I'd sell Gus, Ty, and just get rid of Mark McGuinness. Me is losing his legs. We need to get rid of a lot of players. Are we in danger of judging these players on one performance, Paul?
Not some of them. I think there's some. I think the me one's a bit harsh when he's coming back from injury.
Me and Danny Ings, I think, as well.
Yeah, I think some of them you sort of go. We've seen you've had quite a few opportunities to play well and haven't taken them. And I think some of the names mentioned are fair. I think me's a bit harsh because I think he was playing well before he got injured, and I still see him being part of this team moving forward this season. Personally, although the fourth goal doesn't, I was I had the knives out for him on that fourth goal. But anyway, I think we do have to be careful. I think it's a disjointed performance. Put it to bed, get moved on. I think most Unitedites would take a win in the league for a defeat in the cup at this stage.
I would take that too. It's not been offered. Dave the Nose, you really know. Are we in danger of judging these players?
Look at that freeze.
I know. What's he? I know you're here. It's just turn the lights off to try and get a decent signal.
Bit of model behaviour.
Are we in danger of judging these players on one performance? Okay.
I don't think so. I agree with what Paul said. I think unfair on me. I thought he was excellent before he got injured. Some of the others, which are mostly players that were signed during the summer.
Nige says, only two things I didn't like in the lineup was McGuinness and me together and Campbell starting. That said, no disrespect to Mansfield, but that team should have easily beaten them, says Nige. Mark Meldrew says, couldn't care less about yesterday's result. Saturday's far more important. Michael says, another Leeds fan here. I too am still enjoying your channel following on from last season. Thank you, mate. Stay tuned because there may be some things happening this week. What are we on? Are we on Monday? This week, stay tuned. There's some exciting news that may concern your club as well. Who has not had a comment read? Let's have a little look. Most people have. Get rid of Hamer, says Chris. He's doing nothing this season. Up the Blades. If I offer you 8 million quid, Dave, for Gus Hamer, I am a random club. Are you taking 8 million quid?
No.
Thought about it though, didn't you?
Of course I thought about it.
Paul shook his head straight away. You were definite no, weren't you?
I think 12 million would get it done, personally.
That's not what I'm offering. I'm offering 8 million tops.
So no, then.
Okay, thank you. Just interested because I think he's depreciating in value all the time. So obviously he is window by window because his contract situation. 4 million
quid.
I think most people looking at that goal will not be devalued.
I was saying to my dad, is he the best example I can give of not trusting a highlight package about a player on YouTube? If you put a Gus Hamer highlight package together, it'd look like Messi. It'd be incredible. So Scott says, Cloughie made good decisions in the second half to have Adkins, Man Mark, Hamer out of the game. When we lose Hamer, we struggle to create. Andrew says, I think Mansfield did Wilder a favour. None of the shadow squad did anything to show they should be playing. Still think we need a good backup keeper, another centre midfielder and cover until Peck and Blaster are back. Plus get rid of either Campbell or Ings and bring a rapid striker in. Let Burrows go if the offer is right. Need Guns or Gus to re-sign or sell him. Mark Meldrew says right wing is an absolute must in this window for me. Brooks needs competition and Chong Ogbeni ain't the answers. Dave Morwood says watching Dave's face as he watches two angry blades. There's a few popcorn emojis as me and it looks like this is when me and Paul were going back and forth on whether it were evening ruining performance or not. Wilder said they all do the same training and they all know the system and should be ready to go to step in and do a job. I agree with that, Bri, but Paul's right in so much as match sharpness does come into it and familiarity of who's on the field with you. Burrows was Gangway Blades G Blades says Burrows was awful. Send him to Turkey. Paul says didn't deserve anything from that game. It just showed how bad our second string is, injury prone and picking money up for sitting on the bench and getting away with it. Not good enough. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. The running Bladesman says too many changes. We've done this before. We hadn't played for 11 days previous and don't have a midweek game this week. Wilder messed up playing the strongest team once in control. Okay, Luke says, agreed, Nige, 10 days without a competitive game. If anyone was injured or had knocked or had been knocked, they shouldn't be in the squad at all. Meggie said, so that's a little nudge about Sariki or Bamford. This is the reason Wilder said he didn't start him, because Bamford had a tight calf and Sariki had a knock on his knee or something like that. The argument is they shouldn't be in the squad at all then. Why are we bringing them on when we're chasing the game against Mansfield? And I agree with that point. Meggie says, good evening, Jimmy and the team. I did think a super comeback was on. I know you're all upset, but push on now for the playoffs. Do like Wilder's honesty regarding the team. Up the Ramble. Marco says, I would sell Hamer and Burrows. Burrows, in my opinion, is mentally fragile and Hamer doesn't want to be here. Bryce says, I'm going to throw this one out there to gauge reaction. Did do sign because Ipswich looked at other options? Duck's head behind the sofa. Do we think we only got Bamford over the line because Ipswich changed their... I don't think so, Bri. I think the deal got closer with Sheffield United and it was the best deal for him. I'm not saying Ipswich can't offer more money, and obviously they're in a better position to get promoted than us, but I think he was happy with the deal that we offered and Ipswich walked away from the deal. Do you think that might be the reason, lads, Paul?
There's a number of reasons. It's been a successful spell. He lives in the locality, so he's got a family to think about. And you know, I think that played into our hands, and he's done really well, and he's well liked. And it doesn't always work the way you want it to if you roll the dice and move to another club. So I think it's good. We'll never know the truth, obviously. For me, there are factors that must have come into it for him as an attractive into our club. And we'll never ever get the real. People don't talk about deals and that didn't happen until long after they've finished playing or whatever, I suppose. But now I think he's a great signing. He's a great signing at this level. And we're lucky to have him. And I think that we should remember that when we're getting all upset, because the next game, I think you'll help us forget.
I'm not having this one, by the way. Sally saying that, Jim, you're not listening to me. That game was stage managed. Wilder hates the cup. We've been beaten by Enfield at home in the cup, so Mansfield ain't that bad. If he wanted to win, he could have done. He reckons he's chucked to the game. I think that's a ludicrous thing to say. I think he's put the team out. You look at those 11 players that lined up, they were good enough to beat Mansfield, and that is my argument. Paul has put a decent argument back to say why he doesn't think it worked, and I agree with a lot of points that he's raised, but individually those players are good enough to beat Mansfield, and I couldn't completely understand why he picked the lineup that he did. Scott says Raksaki's available. Dave, are you taking Raksaki on the right-hand side?
No.
Okay. Andrew Turner says, good to see you in ATB on Sunday. Just a shame about the result. It was good to see you too, pal, and your family. I can't believe how poor we were, not running about, and lost count how many times we either passed sideways or gave the ball away. Joe Barker says, Ryan Kent, winger on a free. Wilder's been in for him a few times. We could get Ricky Holmes while we're at it as well, and Ryan Leonard. No, thank you, Joe. Not for me. Kel says, hi, Jimmy. Hope you...
Chamberlain.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's good. He's going to... And Frank Ribery. We'll go back in for him. Hi, Jimmy. Hope you're well. I'm not happy we lost yesterday and we're out, but need to focus on the championship. Up the Blades, up behind the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Let's get this channel to 11k. Thank you. Tim says, Chris would never have bought Chong, McGuinness, Matos or Samari. Ogbeni isn't up to scratch and Davis won't last more than a couple of games. The man in black, Gaz Dunn, says, agree, Bamford and Cannon is our main two. Who would have said that in August? Yeah, very true, mate. Very true. Not many people would have done. Ben says, evening 3MB, hoping yesterday's display shows the board we need quality, not quantity in our squad. Who would you lads send out on loan, and who realistically would you like in? Very quickly, lads, because we are just about on time. We'll go with you, Dave, first. Who would you be sending out?
On loan. So One, Marsh.
Marsh has gone.
Oh, has he? Is it done?
Falkirk, yeah. Done.
Chong, if we can do it abroad.
Matos,
definitely. I'm struggling otherwise, unless we bring people in.
Yeah. AI boys.
I forget we've even got them there.
Yeah,
An absolute. It's all right. They can go to Wednesday in summer.
Yeah, that's true. Danny says, I think we should have a look at that Shea Lacey, right winger at Man United on loan. Won't get a sniff when Mbeumo and Diallo return from AFCON. Looks sharp and a real handful. I saw he's been linked somewhere today, hasn't he? Ipswich. Yeah, because he used to play under McKenna. So if McKenna wants him, I don't know him, to be honest. I've not seen him play, so I can't tell you whether he's decent.
They have quite a lot of players in that position, don't they? Ipswich.
Yeah.
They have a lot.
Yeah, they have, and we've got one of them. We're not playing neither. Ian says, only person to blame for yesterday is you, Jimmy.
Yes.
Says Ian. And that's because I put Louis Reed on the thumbnail for the watch-along. Yeah, apologies. It is my fault. Anonymous Bob says, the Bamford shout from a few months back in Rambler's chat wasn't bad. The O'Hare one, the jury is still out for that one. A little winky face from Bobby, who knows that O'Hare has been our player of the season. And Day One S says, Forest fans aren't keen on McAtee. Would you buy him if Gus goes? We have got zero chance of buying James McAtee. I'll tell you that.
I won't have him anyway.
You won't have him?
No. I think when he was here, he was...
Dave, look at Dave's face.
when he was here, mate, he didn't even get in the 11, and that's an 11 that got trounced nearly every other week.
James McAtee gets in our side now.
Right.
100% he gets in our side.
I think he gets in the side, but like you say, for the outlay, it's just completely unrealistic.
If there were a chance of getting James McAtee on loan,
please don't argue over this.
We could be all. Dave, come on! I'm 2-0 here. If we're going for a McAtee on loan, come on.
2-0 what?
I wouldn't have Gibbs White, or
and get rid of Illiman.
He's rubbish.
Yeah, he were getting trounced back in. Back in 2021.
He weren't even playing for us.
Right, lads, we have gone past the 8 o'clock deadline. I do apologise for being so tardy about it. But I want to say thank you very much for joining me. As always, thank you to everybody in the comments. Lads, have you got anything you want to say to people watching before I let you go?
Have a fantastic week.
Have a fantastic week. Paul, anything you'd like to say, mate?
It'll get better. The next game will be a lot better. There's some of the key ingredients in our little pot will be back in the mix, redeveloped, etc. I think it'll just be a different story.
Dave, why are you shaking your head?
What's this all about?
That's Salt Bay. Key ingredients.
Oh, God.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
You've changed.
But Dave, you need to look at how happy Captain Blade is behind you. And
I know.
I am a
take a leaf out of his book.
I'm a happy camper.
Me and Paul can argue for 20 minutes about whether it were good result, bad result, and we still end up
make
laughing.
Friends over this nonsense.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's a puppet skeleton. I'm gonna cough. Right, loads of exciting stuff coming up on the channel. Please keep it Blades Ramble. If you enjoy the content and you enjoy this video, please give it a like. If you enjoy the content, please give us a subscribe. It's absolutely free and you're all welcome here. So thank you to everybody. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards.
Up the Blades first 11.